Have you ever watched a Fast Five and thought, man, I wish they would have picked a different movie? Well, today you're in luck because that's kind of what's going to happen.
We're voting again. Let's not screw it up this time.
Welcome back, all you lions, tigers, and panda bears,
Oh my.
to another off the beaten path episode of Beer Me That Movie.
Lions, tigers, and panda bears. John, is that code? Are you code switching on me?
Is that when you do acid and marijuana at the same time? One time I code switched behind a Chick-fil-A. It was great. Everyone was super nice to me.
No, I think that's something else. Anyway, hopefully you all are mostly sober because we're going to need your help a little bit more than usual tonight.
That's right, Harrison. Tonight we're going to run through a Fast Five as usual, but at the end, we're not going to pick a feature for next week.
Nope, we're not. But you are.
Yes, you. No pressure.
It's actually a lot of pressure. You guys have seen me try to pick these things in the past. I'm usually sweating like a sexy nun on a Greyhound bus.
Okay, so yeah, a little pressure on you.
That's true, because you only have about 24 hours from this episode's release to let us know what Fast Five should become our next feature.
Correct. This episode is going to come out on a Wednesday, and we're set to record that feature on the following day.
So here's how it's going to work. We're going to drop a poll on our Instagram to vote. So make sure you're following us there.
It's pretty easy to find. It's Beer Me That Movie on Instagram. And if you want to DM us your vote, that's okay too. We're going to tally them up a little before 7 p.m. on that Thursday, tomorrow, like tomorrow.
Yeah.
So don't wait. Vote now.
This is not a joke. You've got the power. Don't blow it and vote. This time, it actually matters.
Okay. I am now ready to floor it into this Fast Five, knowing the steering wheel is securely in all of your hands at home. But first, let's recap our Frankenstein of a good time from last week, Fast and Feature 25.
Ooh.
Can you believe these are the same two guys that gave us Banana Whale?
So last week, we decided to call that concoction Robot Panda Island.
Yes.
Because coming up with a name usually just means we use the name of the beer, but for this one we had 5 to pick from.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I'm just gonna, the tagline of this movie poster would be, it wasn't really as bad as I thought.
Right.
Right.
Right. Exactly. We did not know what to expect when we took Greg's challenge on. Would it be more difficult, more fun? Would it be almost impossible and take us 9 hours to find 5 beers that we could string together for a movie? And it all turned out really, really well. It was a blast, and hopefully, again, you guys enjoyed it listening to it, and you felt like it was kind of a story and related to I don't know, the panda or Gwen or someone.
No pants. Definitely no pants.
Peg leg Gunny with a sinking peg leg. Oh my gosh, there was a lot of wild stuff that happened for us just a couple minutes ago for you guys last week.
For all of the movies we make, I'm kind of like a little bit of Tarvish O'Houlihan in my
Right.
head, where there's like a couple different versions of me maybe that come out at like my parents' Thanksgiving or my in-laws' Thanksgiving or a job interview. John, he's
Yes.
actually pretty well spoken. And I always think of the characters we introduce as like little pieces of myself, like Gunny
yeah.
with his sharpened peg leg and
Yes.
Jimmy Two Toes.
Jimmy Two Toes. Never addressed why that was his name, but I think that's part of the fun. Yes, we definitely had fun with the characters, fun with the setting. It worked. We were kind of nervous about throwing us on an island, but my gosh, as soon as the robot panda entered the mix, I think we knew we had made the right decision and could almost see the entire movie, and then it kind of unfolded in front of us. So that was a blast for us.
It seems entirely pitchable, which is something I hold all of our Beer Me That Movie features to. Only this one really was was kind of like back of the napkin math, as some of
Yes.
the people say.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine walking in like, okay, yeah, this is an island movie. You've seen those
Sweet.
before. You know what they are. Think Castaway, right? That made
Exactly.
us a lot of money.
There is a lot of nudity. Oh,
So-
okay. But it's male butt.
Think Magic Mike. Think Magic
Right.
Mike. Only
That's it
way
now.
less
That's-
magical Mikes.
That's it. Yeah, less magic.
Think Philip Seymour Hoffman pantsless on the beach. Okay, but he's chasing Scarlett Johansson, who makes a
Right.
brief appearance as Guinevere.
Right. We see her for about 30 seconds on the screen, but it's worth it.
And then at the end, they all get into
Girl,
the robot panda.
this
It's a
giant
robot. It's
bear.
not a real panda, so this is
Right.
okay.
Yep, it's good.
We
It's
don't even
safe.
need to get PETA involved. There's no other animals in the movie.
That's right, and it sets up a sequel nicely. So and a ride. It could probably the robot panda ride could be at Universal or Disney.
Oh my
Everyone-
gosh! Think of the tickets right now.
everybody climbs
You're
into the
selling
panda.
so many tickets at Universal theaters. This movie is basically just a marketing tactic for Universal, is the way I thought of it.
Which is what a lot of
sirs.
movies are. It's all about moving toys and lunchboxes and tickets to the park. So
And all we want are
We get
the
it.
licensing rights for the Robot Panda toy. You don't even have
That's
to
it.
pay us. We just
That's
want
it.
the Robot Panda Tycho Kids Toy licensing deal.
That's right. And that exactly. Man, but yeah, it was fun. It was silly. It was a Beer Me That movie and a cool way to celebrate right the halfway mark here. We've done a lot. It felt cool to do something a little different for that episode. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I appreciated the challenge. The moment I heard it, well, I knew we had to do it anyways.
Yeah.
Thank you, Greg. Please don't please
Please
don't
take
make
advantage
the
of
next
us.
one really hard. But it's incredibly hard for myself and Harrison to turn down any challenge.
Yeah.
But I think we both got done with that, and we were like, man, that was, if anything, for us, it was a lot of fun.
Yep.
So hopefully for you listening, you could hear and have some of that fun while you're pretending to work your job or poop,
Right.
so that you can get away from the family for a little bit.
That's it. I'll see you in there. My gosh. But yeah, great stuff. Robot Panda Island coming. Well, just came to a podcast platform near you last week. And man.
And it'll be there too. That's the good thing about podcasts, is so far, like Goonies, they never die. But unlike Goonies, bad transition. That's enough rear view mirror talk. Going back to cars,
Yeah.
I say it's time to look right in front of us and get to the beer.
You know, John, this is starting to sound like a driving and drinking podcast. We're not driving, and you should only be doing one of those things at a time. But anyways, on to the beer.
Like your favorite uncle, we're going to drink this beer and let it inspire us.
Okay, so this beer of the week, beer of the episode, is called Cold from True Brewing Company. They have an Asheville location now, so they're originally Colorado, but they brew in Asheville too. So this one's close to us. It's a German-style Pilsner, 4.9%.
Love it.
And yeah, so we're rocking the low ABV beers. And real simple, it's a Keller Pils style lager brewed with local North Carolina malts.
I got two questions for you,
Oh
Harrison.
boy, here we go.
The
Using
first,
my brain.
the first one is calling on your expertise.
Uh-huh.
There's no better person I could ask this to. I love Pilsners.
Mm,
I understand this is local North Carolina malt, so I appreciate that. It's like
Yes.
like going to a farmer's market and getting a beer.
yes.
What is a Keller Pils? Where's Keller? Is that Lagerstani?
Yeah, a little south or north of Lagerstadt, depending on where we're pretending it is. It has an island in the middle of it. We learned last week, maybe.
In the middle of
In the middle of the giant, like, ocean-sized snake. Lagerstadt takes half the planet. So Keller it's an unfiltered Pilsner. That's all. So Keller beer, Keller Pils, Keller anything. I don't know exactly what it means in German, but it's an unfiltered lager.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, so might be a little cloudy. We probably won't know. So we'll take it straight from the can, like a bunch of awesome dudes. But yeah, that's all.
So if you were having like chicken stock, that'd be chicken stock. But if you were having
Yeah.
consomme, that'd be Keller stock.
Ah, there we go.
Now it makes sense
John
in my
knows.
food brain. The second question I wanted to
Oh,
ask you,
yeah,
I've
right.
seen this brewery is freaking cool.
Yes.
Their logo reminds me of the Beer Me That movie logo on this can.
Yeah.
I one time used to work at Untappd, and I had to call Keller. I had to call this brewery.
Yes.
And I remember their answering machine is the only thing that answered the phone. And it was basically something like, "You've called us a true, and we're too busy to answer the phone. If you're a telemarketer, F off."
Yeah.
And that was it. And I was like, this brewery has my heart forever. But you called them True.
Yeah.
And they're spelled TRVE. Do you know anything about that? Like, I would be like, yeah, Turvy. That's a great brewery.
Truve. I said it all kinds of wrong ways first. Why the V is there, I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with ancient Latin or something. Weren't there V's instead of U's?
I think they probably, they were more efficient in Latin.
Right. I just remember that from History of the World Part 1. There were a lot of V's instead of U's, I think.
Yeah.
That was an ongoing joke. I don't know why they spell it that way, other than V's super metal and awesome.
Yeah, it looks way cooler.
It does. And fun. And I'm sure they get a laugh when people say it wrong all the time.
Honestly, it'd be a fun place to be a bartender. Welcome to my brewery.
What do you
have you been
called?
here before? Oh, all the time. Great. Yeah, what can I get you? I'll have the Turvy Lager. Perfect.
Turvy it is.
Grab some Turvy shirts and hats on your way out too. Tell your friends.
Have a Turvy day.
To thine own self be Turvy.
But this is delicious. Super crisp and tasty beverage. We love lagers. It's always the year of the lager whenever John and I are together.
Ooh.
So yeah, this is gonna be a good one, but as always, we're not going to make a beer tonight or a movie rather, called Gold, and maybe unless we see it in Untappd. This beer is just fueling us through the Fast Five, which we're gonna get to in just a moment.
So that beer is delicious, but I also want to let you guys know that while we will never waste your time with a silly, stupid ad about tape that only sticks for 5 seconds, we do want you to waste some of your time and let us know what you think of the podcast. If you have any ideas or beers you want to submit, you can reach out to us on virtually any social media, but we prefer Instagram because it's the one that we pay most attention to. So look for Beer Me That Movie on social media, preferably Instagram, and tell Harrison that he does a good job keeping that feed pretty packed full of funny stuff. Like, I love what he's doing there. And if you'd rather be a little bit more sophisticated, we open our doors and welcome your Turvy compliments through SpeakPipe, which is a website you can go to on virtually any device, and you'll be able to record like a voicemail for us that, if we like, we'll actually play on the podcast and remark on.
Indeed, we will. Speaking of all those things, let's go find a beer not to drink, but a beer to movie, John, and kick off this Fast Five, number 26.
Toyota Camry, Toyota Camaro. So for this Fast Five, it's all going back to the basics. It's all about the journey through Untappd. So we're going to go fishing.
That's not a car reference, John.
We're going to go hunting through.
John.
I know. We're going to go to the junkyard and look for an automatic window switch from a 1997.
John. We're going to Untappd to find beers. Beers that people listening to this will help us pick and turn into a feature film next week.
So the first beer we're going to jump into tonight is made by Young Blood Beer Company.
Love it.
Checked in on Untappd by someone that goes by PY. So hopefully,
why not?
Hopefully this doesn't become the feature film, because PY is going to be a hard protagonist. But anyways, this beer is called Friend Machine. So Harry and I are going to try and come up with a potential movie that will be in the runnings for you to pick from.
That's right. So we'll try to help you out. Make something that sounds like a movie.
Friend Machine.
Friend Machine.
I'll tell you what immediately comes to mind is there was a time in my life where there still is a time in my life where getting friends is hard. But in my younger years, you could use like a nice car and you could do burnouts, and people would be like, oh yeah, that guy does burnouts. I also like burnouts, so I want to be his friend. The big one though was just marijuana. Was a great.
I was going to say Super Nintendo
Friend Machine. I like where you're going. Super Nintendo was the Friend Machine because you didn't have You couldn't just jump online and play Call of Duty with 60 strangers, most of them 7 years old, to dust you off like you've never played video games before.
Could this be? So I like what I like where you have started. Let's try this. Try these slacks on for size, John. Let's see what happens.
They're too small.
They always are. Smaller every day. Those dumb, they keep shrinking in the wash. It's not me, it's the slacks. So thank God for elastic everything. All right. So let's stay there. So toys, machines, the good way to get your friends. Super Nintendo, your jukebox or your Walkman, cars, a lot of mechanical machine things that you can use to help grow your friend group. Well, let's have this story be about a kid that has no car, has no Walkman. Mom won't let him get the Super Nintendo, and he's kind of friendless, a nerd. And in the basement, it's like, I'm going to build my own friend machine. And maybe he's trying to make like a video game console or something. We don't know. But it turns into like a weird science type movie where he creates something that makes a living Encino Man
like
type
a Teddy
character.
Ruxpin. But
Okay. So he could make a machine friend. I like that. Or it's like a person appears out of the fog and light that this machine lets off. Very weird science-y.
Like I'm imagining like a 12-year-old nerd
Yep.
calling out from the dimension this sexy
Right.
woman in a super tight skirt outfit.
Yeah.
Who's like, yeah, I'm your friend. You called
Yeah,
me.
you called, right? I'm here. So it could be that, and then he immediately my slacks are too tight, and he has to disappear for a bit. But something like that, some kind of, again, supernatural, create your Teddy Ruxpin, and then we get to decide, and maybe you guys get to decide, really, like, is this I guess we'll have to decide eventually. Is this a Chucky type scenario? Does this friend become bad?
Ooh.
Is it a friend? Is it kind of like an Encino Man type movie where the kid's got to teach this adult man that appeared in his basement like about life and what eating is, and
Adolf Hitler shows up in the friend machine.
well, I guess it's someone.
Like,
Right.
but it's like, and we could go really deep, and it could be like 1935 Adolf Hitler
Okay.
shows up, and the
Doesn't
kid,
know yet.
the kid,
Wow.
maybe the kid's Jewish, maybe the kid's
Okay.
not, but
Okay.
it's effectively like the world's chance to rewrite history.
Wow.
He shows up and he's like,
So
oh
it's
yes,
not a friend
I love
machine.
painting.
It's a time machine, and he grabs
He
Hitler
thinks
out of
it's
the
a friend machine.
grabs Hitler out of the past.
he
As he's
grabs
painting by a field somewhere before any of the crazy shit happened. And does he get to, now he's pulled into the 1980s where it's all hot rods and big hair and
What are these mixed races hanging out on the streets with each other? He sees Dora the Explorer, his head's exploding. He's like, what is happening in the future?
I must change this. We hyper inspire. We create the monster he becomes by this time travel episode.
I thought this could be fixed by separating
Exactly,
neighborhoods.
exactly. Not enough amphetamines will help me forget all this, but I will try. Right. It kicks off his addiction to meth. Man, all right. The friend machine. So, well, that took a bunch of turns at the end, but I love the chance to try to find the warmth inside Hitler's heart. Now it's just the Grinch, but the downside is not a small village loses Christmas. It's World War II if you fuck up. So let's hope this poor kid in the suburbs can do it for all of our sake.
That'd be a cool one to end like on a cliffhanger where he goes back into the friend machine, but we don't follow him.
Right.
We don't know what happens.
Exactly. Yes. Oh my gosh.
But I guess as soon as he goes back into the friend machine, the world
would change or
probably
not.
change.
Yeah, exactly.
Gets a little heady, but
Good, right.
I love where we ended up there. Friend machine, choice number 1.
Good luck.
One down, more to go.
For beer number 2, we're going to bring a little optimism into the game. Made by Radiant Beer Co., checked in by Scott. This one's called Glass Half Full.
Glass half full. So immediately I'm thinking of something like Liar Liar, like Yes Man. This is someone who's either been cursed or put into a situation they're not quite in control of, where they have to be optimistic. And whether, I don't know what the downside is if they aren't. I don't know if they're just, again, like cursed into this, like in Liar Liar, where he has to tell the truth. This person has to be optimistic. But that's my first pass at it, John. Someone who is stuck in a scenario. And again, it could be a grumpy person, down on his luck, life's going nowhere, so he thinks, and is just becoming optimistic, just change his perspective, change his life. This feels like a movie you have to watch in high school.
It's like Eat, Pray, Love, which I haven't seen, or Under the Tuscan Sun, which I almost saw.
Right, there you go.
It could be almost like, it maybe not even a curse, but, you know, he's like, it starts out, he's going to sail on this Craigslist sailboat he bought.
Okay.
His dream is to sail from Florida to England or wherever you can reach reasonably. I don't sail, but
that would be quite a trip. But
so that's good. He's battling against the ocean. He's by himself. He gets stuck in the druthers. What's
Bermuda
that called?
Triangle?
The doldrums,
yes.
which is actually a sailing reference. There's a place in the ocean called the doldrums where there's like not enough wind to move you, and it just sucks, I guess.
Yes.
I did learn that. So anyways, he, through this journey, finds that he is in control of how miserable he is on this journey.
Right.
And also, he's in control of how bright things can look. Like, he catches a fish. Oh, well, the last fish, you know, only gave me 2 meals, and I shit one of them out. But like, something snaps where he's like, you know what? I'm grateful that I caught a fish. And eventually these things happen. And he gets to Great Britain, and he's a much more glass half full type person, which does change his life. Like, maybe them along the journey, we learn he was doing this because his dad was dying and he wasn't going to write him into his will, and he's like, you know what, screw that, I'm not even going to be here when you die. And then he lands in England, and he's like a totally different person, where he has all these capabilities and opportunities that might have been there the whole time. This could just be like a feel good.
Yeah, I like that. Could be a feel good movie, a discovery movie on a boat. I like that he's on a boat by himself. Becomes these revelations after getting tossed around by the ocean a bit. And that could be, glass half full. Now he's got to use that the rest of his life. And it could also maybe even be like, to make it even a stronger commentary, like he lands in Great Britain, super optimistic, pessimistic. Within a half day on the land, just overhearing conversation, someone bumps into him. This person's complaining about this. This person's complaining about this. He kind of realizes, like, when left alone, it's really easy to be optimistic, but man, we're pulling each other down, and we need to do something about it. He kind of Forrest Gumps it. He decides to.
He becomes the next prime minister of Great Britain. He's been there for an hour and a half.
From Florida, sunburned, hasn't washed in 3 months. But I'm gonna. How do I apply to be the prime minister? What?
Listen, pal. Me. What do you mean, pal? Listen, friend. We don't say friend. How do you address someone? Let's say mate. All right, listen, mate. And then that turns into him running for office for the Hori party or whatever.
Right. Yep. And Paddington Bear is his assistant, whatever, sub prime minister, vice minister. I don't know how it works.
Because the little I know about England is their cookies are horrid, only beaten by their weather.
Right.
Their sports are purely football, which the rest of us call soccer. And they don't have a lot, of like beaches and exciting stuff.
Right.
So maybe England itself could do with just this guy's just like a bright shining star. He's like a Jay Shetty, but less.
Yes.
Less. I don't know.
In a fog-covered, dark, cold, dreary place, a light from Florida emerges. Oh man.
There'd probably be a way to work in like. There has to be a test of this newfound optimism. Like his dad says he's going to give his inheritance to a different person in his life, or his dad also is running for prime minister of England.
Here by a day, as I always do.
I took a plane, you schlep. Now I already speak the language. They call trunks boots.
They don't know anything here. Speak English. They're supposed to invent this language, right? I like that. So he's head to head with his dad to be the next prime minister of Great Britain. Okay, well, yeah, crazier things have happened. I like this, and we'll
you know what we
see
just did? We just invented Ted Lasso.
I guess maybe we did an origin
Shit,
story.
on accident,
An origin story for Ted Lasso. He had to come from somewhere. And the world needs that. Some more good guys. It's easy to write about the bad guys. We can have this glass half full, this glass hole, this Floridian glass hole, do some good, for once. All right.
Beer number 2, a feel-good movie. All right, let's see what's coming up next.
That's 2. You guys are thirsty.
So for beer number 3, I know the tradition is that they get weird, but this is going to be a pretty... No, it's going to be weird.
All right.
This beer is made by Wrecking Crew Brewworks. It was checked in by our friend Jason, and it's called Velociraptor Hood Ornament.
Okay.
Which, I think I've got some bones here, Harrison.
Give it to me. Give me the bones.
I know you love Velociraptors, but in this case, it's a hood ornament.
Right. Which is
so
not
it's a
good.
movie about cars, which we're experts in.
We are experts. We're in a car thing right now, Miss Fast Five.
True. The Chevy NSX. So the Velociraptor Hood Ornament is a story. Velociraptors, dinosaurs. Dinosaurs died, gave us fossil fuels, perhaps. So,
right.
If you believe in science. So Velociraptor Hood Ornament is the story of, I envision Woody Harrelson, but it's a story of a man hell-bent on gasoline-powered automobiles, so much so that he creates a gasoline-powered automobile company to rival Tesla.
Okay.
And he's like, look, our cars run on gas. They run anywhere. You get gas. It's basically like this. It's the story of the car company, but it's really the story of this man and the life that the difficulties that he's created for himself.
Okay.
That's all I've got, though.
Well, let's take it. Let's have him. Okay. I like this. The bones are there. We can cover him in even more oil. What if this guy is discovered some secret report or overheard one of his scientists at his failing car company that he tried to create to rival Tesla, and maybe it's not going well to start, that like, well, if you could find an oil pit where a bunch of velociraptors died 65 million years ago, that's the best oil, better than any gasoline we're getting with all these brontosaurus bones.
The brontosaurus was slow. The velociraptor was fast. It's the chicken of a dinosaur.
Everyone's too dumb to know this stuff. I know where the biggest oil well of velociraptor oil is in the world.
Right outside of Philly.
Right. And it's okay. But the only problem is that there's a city of 8 million people on top of it. And so he's got to...
You have to frack your ass off to get it.
He's got to sneak... do a secret mission to drill oil underneath one of the most populous areas in the world, because he thinks it might be better, faster velociraptor bone blood. And that's the adventure, is he's putting his whole life on the line to basically have like a journey to the center of the earth type adventure. And I mean, it could get as weird as we want. Maybe he drills into what he thinks is going to be an oil well, and it turns out to be like an underground cave filled with living velociraptors that have been stuck there. In his adventure to be the next Henry Ford, he becomes the Jane Goodall of underground dinosaurs. I mean, who knows? There's a lot going on here in this quest for the American dream to build a small car company and just have the best gas available. Sends him on a wild adventure.
I see the story like, you think Chevy's rich? Look at Texaco. Look at British Petroleum.
Right.
You want to make money, you need to be supplying for these cars.
Dino blood.
Tesla's got their supercharged stations for their Tesla cars, and you need Velociraptor stations for your Velociraptor cars. You're building more than just a brand here. You're building a way of life.
You're gonna change the world.
I'll tell you where to get it. It's underneath Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
So then I like the progression of now this guy's mission is to find
Right.
the oil, which
Yeah.
I think there's definitely potential in Beer Me That Movie to have him find actual velociraptors.
I'm
And
just remembering that scene from Godzilla, the 1994 or whatever Godzilla with Matthew Broderick, where there's baby Godzillas in Madison Square Garden. Just a just a bunch of velociraptors in the Wells Fargo Center.
we could have the Tiger King make a guest appearance.
I can tame him. No, I can't. I'm out.
Don't make me call Jane Tiger King. I'll call her if she thinks she's better.
That's right. Oh, man. Yeah, a lot of guest appearances. Everyone loves dinosaurs. Everyone loves a good car movie. We could cram it all in there and do some fun There Will Be Blood type. I drink your milkshake. I drink your velociraptor blood. I drink it up. Scene that gets no one's attention in any award
We get an
circle.
Oscar. If we get Daniel Day-Lewis, we get an
You're
Oscar.
right. We could
for
get him
this.
to play a velociraptor or pull him out of retirement to be
The Velociraptors are only going to be silhouetted. I'm not building Velociraptor animatronics. We'll
Yeah.
just get like a cardboard cutout and shine a
Perfect.
flashlight on
Yeah,
it.
that'll work. That'll be artsy. People will like that.
Yeah, very, very artful film called Velociraptor Hood
Velociraptor
Ornament.
Hood Ornament. Ooh, I
Um,
like that one.
we haven't decided what happens at the end, but I think
No.
that's it's okay.
Yeah, there's
if
plenty
you
there.
if you decide to pick this movie, I hate you.
This is gonna be the one.
God, we got two more. Please not. Okay, let's see what's coming up for number 4.
3 down were probably halfway done already.
For beer number 4, we're going to pull one from Ravinia Brewing Company, checked in by Kelly. This beer is called John Doe,
John Doe.
spelled Dough.
John Doe. Kelly at the Gopher Hole tonight. Enjoying a John Doe. All right. So stay with me here, John. I think you're gonna see right where I'm going because this is Pun City, as this beer would suggest. So John Doe also was like an unidentified dead body at like a morgue or whatever police station. We got a John Doe, 28-year-old white male, no socks, no shoes, no pants, found on a sand in his pubic area.
Sand everywhere.
So, all right. So we got a John. So that's John Doe. I think this is all I've got, and we'll see where we go. But this is who this person is. We can have fun with. Is he a successful businessman? Is he a nobody in town already? We could have him start high or start low. But it's this guy who gets killed, maybe in the back of a bakery the day before Christmas. And there's some magic happening in the air, Christmas magic, and he gets murdered mysteriously, and his soul, instead of going to the great beyond, goes right inside a gingerbread cookie on the counter, and we've got a living cookie man, a John Doe, who has no memory of who he is, who killed him, has to convince people he knows to trust this walking, talking cookie to solve his own murder. That's it. The John Doe.
How does his voice sound?
Oh,
Perfect.
My gumdrop buttons. It's me, Esmeralda. I'm your husband. Oh, look down here. No. Don't the cat get me. Oh, no. It's a little bit Mr. Bill. Oh, my God. So that would be just fun. How many times this guy gets partially eaten by the house cat. But also, right, now we've got a real murder mystery on our hands. And a talking cookie everyone has to try not to eat and keep alive and not let get too dry so he falls apart, which is maybe the hardest part.
Just
keeping
holds
a cookie
on to a
moist.
marshmallow all the time.
Right. So yes, it's ridiculous, but you know, sure, he resolves it, maybe gets a second chance, Christmas magic returns to his body, or maybe she becomes a gingerbread as his wife, ginger lady, I don't know.
What is there to add to this?
Nothing. We would just go make it a feature at this point where we got to figure out this cookie and we get a fun voice out of it. It's got all the pieces of a Beer Me That movie classic. We can also do it like a very film noir-y, very black and white and an old school detective movie. But he's
Yeah, I'm a
walking
cookie,
around
sure.
I'm a cookie, see?
I think like that movie Emily.
Yes.
Art style. No one cares about that. This is a podcast, but if I had any tweaks,
What do you got?
So it could be. It's a trendy hipster bakery.
Okay. Oh, yes.
Owned by a Lagerstanian couple.
Of course.
And they've brought the yeast from Lagerstan. And this yeast might be what happened to kind of transmute our John Doe into a cookie.
Perfect.
But maybe, I like your direction, but we could, as an alternate, maybe look at this bakery is actually doing this with intent.
Oh.
And we see that it's not just our John Doe here, but there's a baker's dozen of these.
A series of unsolved murders in this town, and now this cookie knows the truth.
They've got an in with the coroner, whoever comes to train. Like, just bring him by here really quick. Because we don't need the body. Right. We just need the spirit of the body. We just put this yeast in its nostril for a second, and then we pull it out and ploop right in the dough.
Captured another soul. So an evil couple harvesting souls in this town, and John Doe happens to escape, but there's 12 others left on the baking sheet he needs to go back and save, but has to convince now some humans or whoever he gets to ride a cat.
In traditional Beer Me That movie, I just think David the Gnome, but he didn't get a fox, he got a cat.
Who's impossible
the cat
to
gets
control
distracted
all the time. Cat doesn't listen. Cat couldn't care less.
And it could be, so this bakery couple is from Stalingrad.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And it's a Lagerstani baker that has to help. Well, either way, maybe they're from North Lagerstan, South Lagerstan.
Yes, there we go.
Somewhere in Lagerstan, there are generally good people, and there's a lot of evil people too.
For sure.
So maybe that, I don't know where the movie goes exactly. We don't have to figure that out right now.
Don't.
Is this premise enticing enough to earn your vote?
Yeah, well, we'll find out. But that's what I've got, and we've got for John Doe.
Cookies come to life.
And then some. One smart cookie. There's all the posters done.
The puns are great. And he could be a baker himself. Maybe he's like, I got to get more baking soda. I need to puff up and get big.
right. Becomes the size of a house. Too much baking soda. I'm starting to melt too. Too much egg.
They try almost a little Toy Story-ish, little.
Yes.
But it could be with some Lagerstani, David the Gnome / Big Nose accent going on.
Yeah.
I will vote for this movie just so that Harrison has to do balls up voice the whole night.
Balls up. Oh my! I still love you. Where's my penis? Oh no!
That's either way. That's the ending scene. The Lagerstani bakery has a sexy nun working, and she's like, "I'll make you perfect again."
Right. Don't worry about it, little John.
6 inches? No, that'd be disproportionate for your body.
My back.
All right, so that's 4 in. We're gonna grab one more, and it's gonna be a doozy. I don't know. I haven't even seen it yet, but it'll probably be a doozy.
We're already at 4 movie ideas from beer names.
For tonight's beer number 5, this was made by Deciduous Brewing Company, and it was checked in by Beerman NH.
Nice.
Who will be a hard protagonist. We might have to change the name of the protagonist.
Also Scott in parentheses.
Oh,
so we'll be good.
Thanks, Scott. Never mind. Checked in by Scott. The beer's called Smiling High.
Smiling High.
Smiling High. Aren't you, though? Right? Yeah. Otherwise, it wasn't a good high, or you didn't do enough.
Yes. Right. Didn't do enough. He's right.
That's the problem with Coke. Anyways. So, Smiling High. The first thing that comes to my mind outside of the jokes I just made is a phrase that anyone who's ever worked in a call center has heard, and that's something to the effect of smile and dial.
Right.
You're debt collecting, your sales, you're working for a company that's probably making you do sales or whatever. You have to call people, which is something I hate. And instead of just saying, deal with it because you get a paycheck, they would come up with this rhyme, smile and dial. So I think that's where my brain went, but then I don't want it to be about that because it's just we already know mostly what can happen there. But instead, let's beer me that a little bit and let's make it so this is a government agency call center.
Oh,
so it's civil service, and you're not calling people, but you're getting called.
Okay.
And you're getting called from people about regular life issues. It's almost like, think like Idiocracy. We've gone into the future. People have gotten pretty dumb. And so the government said, okay, here's the number you call. You call 911 if you're burning. You call 411 if you forgot your mom's name. Right. And you call 111 if something bad happens. And that's this call center. Oh, so the government knows that there's only a few people left that can really answer these type of questions, which we'll probably get into in a minute. And in order to keep them happy and answering the calls, they also keep them high. The government gave us LSD, so it's not like we're not really pushing the envelope yet.
Doing it again. I like this. So they've the smiling and dialing wasn't enough for this kind of work. Pharmaceuticals needed to get involved. So they have. Now this call center is full of high people dealing with the leftovers of society, people who can barely and maybe even can't even flush their own toilet or shut their own door or whatever, and they call this 111 for help, and they just deal with just the worst things all day and need to be medicated in some way or another just to not
maybe
take their own life.
Maybe it's because these are, we'll go a little 1984, but not quite, but like these are the only people left that are really capable of an independent thought.
Okay.
So they are almost like in, I don't know if this is right or not, but I think in Japan you kind of get sent to your school.
Okay.
Right? Like you don't necessarily in the military, you don't pick, hey, I want to be, you might pick infantry. That's open to everyone, but you don't necessarily pick, I want to be a nuclear sub technician. The military tells you based on your test scores, that's what you can do. So it's kind of like this type of world where the government says like, oh yeah, this person scored above 10 on their citizen test. So we need to pull them in here so they can help people learn how to flush their toilets. But also we need to keep them medicated because we don't want this group of people telling them, hey, if you would just read a book that's on your shelf.
You can figure this out yourself.
Which you probably couldn't do, but we don't want them educating them. We just want them just tell them how to flush the toilets. Tell them that the light is always on in the fridge, so they don't have to leave the door open. They can just close the door.
Right. I close it real quick and shut it. I think it goes off, but I don't know how. So I like this. So the 1984 approach where these people, this call center, and maybe even they're the smartest people left, so they're also keeping them high to kind of dumb them down a little bit. Because if they were sober in a room together, they'd probably be like, "What are we doing? Let's get out of here. We can go be free and escape." But now they're addicted to whatever this weird government drug is, and keep using it again and again while being on these phones all day, dealing with people who are lighting their hair on fire with their hair dryer or whatever it is, just being useless idiocracy type folks. I think what the movie An Adventure is must then be, one of them kind of figures out how to doesn't take the drug one day and maybe starts having some more thoughts of escape and a better life, and it could be one of those things. It could be they inspire all the people they're calling to start thinking for themselves and a revolution begins. I don't know. Again, as always, we kind of are good at figuring out a chunk of the movie and then figure the rest out in the feature. But that's enough for us to play with it and have a good time making up phone call covers. Most of the movie is going to be us just imagining what these people are going to be calling in.
My sandwich is all peanut butter on the outside.
Exactly.
Larry, we talked about this yesterday, Larry. You need to put the peanut butter on the inside.
Right, exactly.
So it doesn't touch your hands, remember?
I keep flushing and the poop goes nowhere. Okay, well, where is the poop? All over the floor. Of course. All right, I'm transferring to somebody else. Yeah, so right. Just that's the world these people walk into every day and have to deal with it. Ooh,
It could be a fun. It could be. I hate that I don't know exactly where it goes, but I think that's a fair setting and premise. Maybe I like your point. Maybe one of the people doesn't go to the snack machine that day,
right?
So they're like, Larry, think about it, man. Why would you be able to flush the toilet and the poop would go away? And Larry's like, oh, I should poop in the toilet.
Where does it go?
Yeah, you should poop in the toilet, Larry. And maybe his boss calls him in for a review or something. He's like, don't give him advice like that, man.
Right.
Just let him call in. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Maybe okay. So smiling high. Is there anywhere else we could go with that? Just some guy who's really stoned smiling for 90 minutes.
Right. That'd be fun for some people. I don't know. I like where you went, John. That's pretty good.
It's like maybe I was influenced by like this. Was it Timothy O'Leary that invented acid or did a lot of experiments with it? It could be the story of like of an LSD cult sort of thing that happens as well, where like they know that everyone in the world is pretty miserable, and they're like, it's the easiest cult to join. They're like, do you want to be happy like all these girls wearing almost nothing? Here, put this dropper on your tongue and come give me all your money.
Right. What was that last part? Just put the dropper on your
tongue. Don't worry.
Worry.
Do you know how to talk to dolphins?
Right, not yet. You will soon. That could be a whole other thing too. I like smiling high. It sounds nice, at least for a little while.
So that's 5 beers, and I know we normally do an ultimatum, but because this Fast Five is set up for you to decide, and because Instagram hasn't figured out how to make a poll with more than 4 options,
right?
Instagram, brilliant company. So we're going to stop. We're not going to do an ultimatum, and I think this is the first time that'll ever happen on Beer Me That Movie, but we'll see how this works with your feedback. And I think I also just alluded to another problem. We've got 5 beers and we can only put 4 beers out in a poll on Spotify where you listen to the podcast, or Instagram where you come find us and vote. But what do you think, Harrison? Should we get rid of one of these beers and maybe make it a little easier on
at least for round 1, we can take some pity on you all and give you 4 to pick from. Although, knowing our luck, we'll eliminate the one that everyone wants. If that's the case, just write it in. Just DM us on Instagram. But, yes, let's knock one off and give everyone listening at home 4 to pick from. And again, you got to do it like today. Find that poll. It'll be up. And let us know what you want to do. So what are we getting rid of then? What do we like the least?
Oh, I don't want to steal this away from you, Harrison. This is your favorite part. We're already letting the listeners pick which beer is going to be a feature. I know how much that bothers you.
Well, I mean, I love Velociraptor Hood Ornament's great. John Doe, it could be a lot of fun. Friend Machine, we started out well with that.
Love Friend Machine.
Oh man, it's really. Do we want to leave Glass Half Full on there because it is nice and an uplifting movie, or Smiling High, which is kind of maybe uplifting in a different way? It's between one of those two for me, Glass Half Full or Smiling High.
Glass Half Full
make it
is more uplifting than Smiling High. So I'd be willing to say Smiling High. I'll take that out of the running.
All right.
And then so your job, should you choose to accept it,
please accept
you only
it.
have to have 7 or 3 for 45 of them to get through the day. Your job is to choose from Friend Machine, Glass Half Full, Velociraptor Hood Ornament, or John Doe. If you're listening directly on Spotify, there'll be a poll right on this podcast. If you're not, you can go to Instagram, find Beer Me That Movie, and check the stories that Harrison makes where you can put a vote in there. We need your submissions before Thursday night because we're going to have to write the feature film and record it Thursday night, which is tomorrow if you're listening to this right when it comes out.
That's right.
If you missed it, we'll probably do it again for the next Fast Five, so you'll get another chance to vote in 2 weeks.
Right. And if you are missing it, you can subscribe to this anywhere and you'll get alerted every time the new episode comes out. So you just click on that and listen to it. So if you're trying to remember when to listen, don't do that. Your mind can be used for other things. Like,
I get reminders to take insulin, and I'm a type 1 diabetic.
Right. Let your phone do some work for you. Brains are better used for other things. and remembering stuff. At least I keep telling myself that when I forget, because I forgot so many things. But cool. Well, we're excited to see what you guys pick. Thanks for going along this journey with us. And yeah, next week we'll be doing whatever you guys tell us to do. So until then,
Peace.
punch.
Please pick a good one.